Jai Sri Ram friends, welcome to Bharat Marg. Welcome Vinay Ji. Thank you for joining Bharat Marg. Today it is going to be an important topic, friends. It's about NATO versus BRICS. Okay, uh, everywhere. Vinay Ji, today this is the news, top news. Everywhere you go, आपको ये मिलता है कि NATO. They are very scared everywhere. Even every Western media you take, they never took BRICS so seriously as they do right now. And dumping dollar, India leading the way. This is what we are going to discuss about PM Modi's new India changing world order. And click and watch this video interview with our political analyst Vinay Ji. Okay, and but before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video as much as you can, friends. Also, if you didn't yet, please subscribe to our channel Bharat Marg and also press the notification bell to make sure you get notified as we go live along with the title, so that you can come and join and ask questions and become the part of the conversation. Also know we send out one dharmic message every day now in your mobile phone in various languages. If you are interested, you can go ahead and connect with us in WhatsApp by sending a message to +1 647 964 4790. And Vinay ji, thank you for joining Bharat Marg.
Thank
Okay,
you.
appreciate it. And happy Raksha Bandhan to you and family. What a
Thank you.
fantastic day today to meet and discuss. Okay, Vinay ji, ये देखिए, NATO, everywhere in the Western media you see NATO versus BRICS. See, you find topics like this. Which is more powerful? Can BRICS can derail NATO? And on the other side, if you go towards the east, you find the US in big trouble. And also, Toronto Star made an article recently, that is couple of days back. Is BRICS becoming the voice of the voiceless? And BRICS dumping the dollars is going to be a big issue everywhere. It is being covered. Come on, Vinay ji, we want to know what you say about this matter.
Thank you, Ji. Actually, I just want to go a little into what is BRICS and how it was formed, and just to give a little bit of a background for the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
So, BRICS was originally started by BRIC, that is Brazil, Russia, India, and China.
Mm-hmm.
And these countries started BRICS in, I think it was in 2009, I believe. Actually, the thing was actually coined in 2001, okay, by the then Goldman Sachs chief economist Jim O'Neill, and his research paper that underlined the growth potential of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. But at the time, these four countries had never come together as a group, okay. And then in 2009, the bloc was founded as an informal club to provide a platform for its members to challenge a world dominated by the United States and Western allies. All right. So now its creation was initiated by Russia. So Russia basically brought these other three countries together, and they said that, you know what, we got to stand up against the NATO and the United States allies and the Western allies, who are kind of congregating and kind of forming a group that's going to become a big kind of a power, a world power by themselves, and that's going to make the many of the countries kind of follow the path. Okay, so basically, what happens is when something like this is like NATO is formulated and set up by the US, many countries jump on the bandwagon because the United States is supposed to be a superpower. Okay, and that posed a threat to Russia. Okay, and to Russia's the geographical boundaries and all that stuff. And you know that the war that's happening right now between Ukraine and Russia is as a result of that. Okay. So now, the one thing that you got to keep in mind, and the viewers have to keep in mind, is BRICS is not a formal multilateral organization like the United Nations, World Bank, or the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, the OPEC, and stuff like that. Okay, so BRICS is more or less like the G7. Okay, so the thing that you got to understand was when BRIC was formed, South Africa, which was the smallest member in terms of economic clout and population, became the first beneficiary of an expansion of the bloc in 2010, and South Africa joined, and BRIC was renamed as BRICS. Okay, when S is for South Africa. Now, keep in mind that together, the 5 countries account for more than 40% of the world population and a quarter of the global economy. Did you get that? A quarter of the global economy, 5 countries together. And apart from geopolitics, the group's focus includes economic cooperation and increasing multilateral trade and development. However, coming to the topic that you are talking about, okay, is NATO afraid of BRICS, or is BRICS a threat to NATO? I would say no.
Okay. Theoretically, no.
Yeah, the reason is because BRICS is not a military group. Okay, BRICS was not formed to kind of become a military a congregation or a consensus or a group.
It's an economical group.
It's an economical group, exactly. So that's the reason NATO has
but the way I saw the article written eloquently in Toronto Star, okay, it says that is the biggest advantage BRICS have, because when countries join NATO, the other countries around them oppose them, like Russia does of Ukraine. But when somebody joins BRICS, like 6 new countries are going to join, and it poses officially no threat to anybody. But it's about de-dollarizing and economically striking West. That's what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, you got to keep in mind that there are a couple of players in this group that are a little flaky, I would say. Okay, for example, China and Russia are 2 countries that I wouldn't trust 100%. Okay, probably more so China. All right, let me put it that way. Russia has been a partner of India and has been a good friend of a good ally of India. However, Russia, especially in the recent past after the Ukraine war started, they have been kind of alienated and they've not been looked at with any respect. I mean, first of all, keep in mind, right, going back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was a Cold War going on between the United States and Russia. And there were a lot of embargoes and stuff like that, and then the USSR at the time was split into many other countries like Russia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, and so many countries, Ukraine, Turkmenistan, and etc., right? So now you got to keep in mind that when Russia was split, Russia still wanted to keep its borders clean. You wanted to stay like because it was already split. Keep in mind, it was already split. They wanted to keep whatever the geographical remains of Russia. They wanted to keep that an integral part of Russia. They didn't want anybody else to kind of take over and stuff like that. But then what happened? NATO actually started getting enrolling members and expanding and enrolling members along the Russian border. All the new countries that came out of USSR, they started enrolling these countries. Okay. Now, for example, Lithuania, Slovakia, Slovenia, many other countries are part of this.
They wanted to circle Russia. That's for sure.
Exactly. They basically wanted to surround Russia. So
and NATO gives them the right to put their own army and force there.
Exactly. And NATO has, NATO has the biggest member of NATO is obviously the United States. And United States will be allowed to set up a base close to Russian border. So now imagine if all the countries surrounding Russia has a US base. Now Russia is going to be pretty much under threat. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole intent of NATO. And now coming to BRICS, BRICS is definitely not a military organization. It's an economic front. The whole idea of that was to collaborate in economical kind of partnership and exports, imports, and trade and that kind of stuff, right? So that was the whole intent of BRICS. But today, what's happening is the countries that have kind of recently joined BRICS are seeing the kind of the power of BRICS and the growing power of BRICS, I should say, because look at these 5 economies. I just told you, 40% of the global population is in these five countries, and 25% of the global economy is controlled by these 5 countries. All right. So now these other 6 countries who joined recently are seeing the power in these in BRICS. So Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, United Arab Emirates, Argentina, and Egypt, they joined BRICS as part of an expanded collective. Okay. And it's not just these 6 countries. Okay, there are many more countries that have actually voiced their interest in joining BRICS.
Okay? Now it is said that UAE, Iran, and Saudi Arabia and few other countries, actually 6 more countries are going to enroll in, and they say that is 85% of the world economy.
Yeah, no, Saudi Arabia has already joined, will be joined by Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia. I think they're just going to be deliberating on this. And BRICS is actually just concluded. So the meet in South Africa. And, basically these countries are going to be joining. So there's no doubt about it, these 6 countries. But in addition to these 6 countries, there are more countries joining. But what's that going to do to BRICS? There is a possibility, and this is my speculation. It's not coming from any source or whatever. My speculation is because the US dollar pretty much controls the world economy. Everything is traded in US dollars, whether you want to buy oil, whether you want to buy gold, or whether silver or any precious metals or any of that stuff in the global market. You have to trade in US dollars. And that is actually upsetting many of the countries, especially the ones in the BRICS bloc. Okay. So India, as you know, has already started trading internationally in rupees. Okay. And now Indian rupees is now being accepted in many global markets. Okay. Like, for example, just recently, India purchased oil from UAE, and they paid in rupees, Indian rupees, and it was accepted. So that's
they are going to do fully in local currency. Both the countries are going to trade in local currency.
Exactly. And many of the local, countries surrounding India, like, for example, anywhere where India has got strong trade partnerships, like Mauritius, Maldives, Nepal, and many
Bangladesh,
of these
Sri Lanka,
Sri Lanka, and all these countries are already kind of have been shown their interest in trading in rupees. Okay, they just want to get rid of the US dollars. Now imagine Like if these countries are now growing, and now India enters BRICS, and then BRICS creates its own currency, now that is going to create a huge problem. Okay, so that is what I'm speculating, but I don't know how far that's going to.
But I
Uh,
think
go.
Modi is pushing for using the local currency.
Exactly, and whether you use the a common currency between these BRICS countries, or if you use the local currency, and if you, let's say, South Africa and India want to trade, you use rand or you use the Indian rupees, or if Russia and India want to trade, same thing, rubles or Indian rupees. Same, that's basically what is going to be happening, and I'm seeing that in the near future.
Absolutely. And how does this affect? Why all of a sudden BRICS was not ever taken seriously? Now, why all of a sudden from last session, every Western media is zooming into it now? Immediately the George Soros have been screwed in to abuse Adani again to kind of put BRICS down. How do you see these?
So you got to keep in mind that globally, Russia is considered as a threat militarily. Okay. So NATO recognizes Russia as the most significant and direct threat to the alliance's security. Number one. Number two, China is progressing so fast that it's going to beat US, and its GDP is going to be surpassing US in the very near future. Okay, it'll become the number one country. Okay, so keep that in mind. And number three, look at India. India is progressing so well, like the recent Chandrayaan to the three the spacecraft that went to the landed on the moon, and in the South Pole, where no other country had ever done so. And the amount of development that's going on in India, like the roads or infrastructure, the shipping yards and the airports, and all the stuff that is required for a developed country is happening in India. And India is like the current government is targeting 2047, by which India wants to be a developed country. Okay, we're talking about 20 odd years from now. All right. So now, given that, and then Brazil is also a pretty big economy, and so is South Africa. South Africa, although it's not a very big economy, it's a pretty it's one of the biggest economies in the African continent. Okay, so now when these five countries have come together and are formed a trade partnership, and there's a lot of activities going on, a lot of trade going on. So what's that going to happen? How does it impact the rest of the world? The way it's going to happen is the rest of the world is going to probably lose out on imports, lose out on exports, lose out on a whole bunch of things. And when that happens, and given that China is one of the biggest exporter in the world, and India is also pretty much second, I would say probably second or third in the export market. So a lot of the other countries will be in shambles because they don't have the infrastructure to even manufacture a pen, for example. Okay, so everything is imported. I mean, like, look at all the Western countries. Look at the United States. You
Yeah,
pick up
are you talking about Canada?
Canada is a small fry. Okay, we'll not even address Canada because Canada is a very small fry. But we are talking mainly about the United States and the Western allies, right? So these countries, and they don't have the infrastructure. Like I'll include Canada as well. Canada doesn't have the infrastructure. I mean, there is manufacturing in Canada, and that is the only reason why Canada is still surviving. But look at the United Kingdom, right? United Kingdom fully went into trade, and they're a trading country. They're not a manufacturing country. They cannot even manufacture a simple thing. Okay, and look at the economy in United Kingdom. Like, today the United Kingdom is almost bankrupt. Okay.
That means we cannot take your word on it, because just because even China's economy, which is the factory of the world, is going down and down and down the hill.
Yeah, the reason is, obviously, it's not because of anything but because of the competition, number one, because of the inflation, because of the upcoming recession, or recession in the horizon. The pandemic hit the industry and all that stuff, and but Chinese economy is pretty stable, I would say. But you have a very close competition in India, because India has now become Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay,
Mhm,
what does that mean? Everything is make in India. So,
mhm,
for example, India stopped importing, fireworks, like things from for Diwali, for
mhm,
example, even for Rakhi, or for any of the holy festivals, or any of that. People used to go to the market, and they used to see that certain things were cheaper because these were coming from China. But now,
mhm.
because of this initiative by the government about Atmanirbhar Bharat, now a lot of this has stopped, and that has hurt the Chinese economy. But with the BRICS, they're probably going to come out and probably establish the trade partnership, or re-establish the trade partnership, and we'll see how that works out. Because there is also there's some tension between China and India along the line of control, as you know, and those have to be resolved as well.
But
Because India is in a power, in a negotiating authority right now. Because it wasn't before, it wasn't like that. I mean, whatever people used to say, or other countries used to say, India used to just follow, but now it's become a leader.
right. But now, what does it mean if all these BRIC countries, because they say between UAE and India, it's going to be 100% on local currency, and it is already happening with Iran, and Saudi Arabia, it is going to get started. What does it mean to dollar, and why the West is so scared of BRICS?
See, the thing is, if
I one second. I just want to show you. Vinay ji, you see here. See how many articles, all the major publications are writing about it. On how BRICS is going to dominate the economical forum, and it was never the case. BRICS was like, okay, you guys want to get together and do it. See, massive US dollar dump BRICS to launch new currency. It says BRICS dumping US dollar. BRICS expansion, 85% of the global population to dump US dollar. BRICS range. You are talking about on and on and on and on. You can clearly see never newspapers like media like Toronto Star or CNN never write anything about India so far, but this time BRICS is a totally different ballgame. We can see they are afraid of it. Why is so?
because we just talked about it. Now 6 countries are joining BRICS. Okay, and BRICS is growing. BRICS is going to be a huge economic power. Like, imagine, eventually they're forecasting about 85% of the global population will be part of BRICS. Okay, now if these countries are trading with each other in local currencies, or, like, I am speculating, like, BRICS can have a new BRIC dollar or BRIC euro or whatever it is, and now that's going to sideline the United States dollars and euro currency. And BRICS, sorry, US dollars is the trading currency in the world right now,
And
for
they get a
anything.
huge conversion charges, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, like, look at the way it's helping United States. Every every trade that happens, every global trade that happens in United States dollar, it's only helping the US economy. I mean, it could be two different countries, not even related to the United States, but if they're trading in US dollars, it is indirectly helping US economy. Okay. Now, if all that gets thrown away, and now BRICS creates its own dollars or currency, I should say, or BRICS is now starting to trade in local currencies. Now, how is that going to affect the United States? It's going to be a huge impact on the United States, and that is the reason they're seeing it as a threat. Right now, it's all 40% of the global population is in BRICS, and BRICS, every BRICS meeting, it's only getting better and better. And people in the leaders in the BRICS bloc are already talking about trading in non-US currency, and that is actually posing a huge threat to the United States.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Vinay Ji. You want to give any last word before we call it a evening on the show?
No, I think it's a great initiative by the BRICS countries, and I think more and more countries should join. And right now we are seeing already, like, I was surprised when Iran was which is one of the biggest enemies of the United States, joined BRICS. And Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest partners of United States, joined BRICS. And UAE.
But if you really see it, the US has already sanctioned on Iran, so it doesn't matter, right?
But here's the thing, like, there are countries like forget Iran, Saudi Arabia, United States, United Arab Emirates, Argentina. They've already expressed their interest. But here are the few others, especially coming from the African continent, Algeria, and then Bolivia, Indonesia from the Southeast Asia, Egypt, of course, Ethiopia, Cuba, Democratic Republic of Congo, Comoros, Gabon, Kazakhstan. They've all expressed interest in joining the forum. So
and one more thing, as per pure research that happened, Africans are very, very confident, bold, and told and sold on PM Modi.
Yeah. And basically, many of these countries are saying that they want to curb the dependence on the United States dollars for foreign trade. Instead, they're turning to the Chinese yuan, or in line with BRICS leaders' stated aim to reduce dependency on the US currency or trade in local currencies. This is what many of the countries, like over 40 countries, have expressed their interest in joining BRICS.
And it doesn't give a threat, right? That is also another thing. When you're joining NATO, you kind of put the other person next to you in notice. But here it is kind of a very, very subtle.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is not a threat at all because they're not a military bloc.
I have one last question. Do you think, on the day Russia attacked Ukraine, every Visa, MasterCard, Google, Facebook, Twitter, everything stopped working in Russia. Do you think BRICS got a lesson from here?
It is possible. Again, it's a speculation, but it's possible because a lot of things, when you're depending on one currency, it's like people always say, do not put all your eggs in one basket. What does that mean? Do not depend on the US currency.
And also, US seized many of the properties of Putin and his associates.
Exactly. Especially like MasterCard, Visa, everything is a US company, right? And now, if even World Bank, actually, everything is traded in US dollars. Like, if a country wants a loan, it's in US dollars. Okay. So this is the thing about US dollars, the amount or how they control the global economy, right? And that is what these countries are trying to get away from.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Vinay Ji, for joining us and shedding light on the whole thing. Friends, let us know, what do you think? Is US in big trouble? De-dollarization happening? BRICS versus NATO, why do you think it is being the talk of the town, and who is winning? We'll love to hear from you. Again, thank you, Vinay Ji. Thank you for those who see.
Thank you.
Stay connected, folks. We're looking forward to see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna, Vinay Ji.
Krishna.